Ah, the ever-elusive Season 2 of Yu Yu Hakusho. Ready to dive into a realm of speculation and hopeful pondering. We'll be exploring everything we don't actually know about the elusive second season. Because, concrete information is so overrated. So, what's the deal with Season 2? Are we about to uncover the deepest anime mysteries? Or are we just setting ourselves up for more coming soon disappointment? Stick around as we ponder these questions and more. Beloved anime franchises face immense challenges when adapted to live action. Translating stories designed for animation into real physical sets stretches budgets. More concerning, condensing intricate narratives and characters into abbreviated runtimes often cuts emotional cores connecting with audiences. Yu Yu Hakusho's recently wrapped 5-episode Netflix season confronted these constraints head-on. Attempting to establish the expansive series while racing through 2 early manga arcs forced difficult trade-offs, yet the same budgetary factors permitting drastic compression also leave the door open for additional seasons to adapt remaining content. Yu Yu Hakusho is hardly the only anime adaptation forced to squeeze ambitious storylines into limited runtimes. Why might studios persist with abbreviated adaptations despite criticism? Building fully realized fantasy worlds on screen requires massive upfront investments into sets, locations, makeup, costumes, etc. Adaptations face excruciating choices between completely funding faithful episodic orders or making harsh cuts to save on costs. The obvious question follows. If abbreviated adaptations routinely sacrifice quality, why do studios persistently pursue this model? The answering dilemma is cost. Building fully realized fantasy worlds requires tremendous upfront investment into sets, locations, special effects, makeup, costumes, and more. Tell stories justice by funding complete episodic orders at high price points. Or condense into fewer episodes and pray the essence shines through the cracks. Economic motives push studios toward runtime cuts despite knowing critically panned adaptations still alienate fans. This tension perfectly encapsulates the challenging situation behind Yu Yu Hakusho's Netflix adaptation. Translating Yoshihiro Togashi's long-running manga into anime avoided live-action constraints. Across 112 manga chapters published from 1990 to 1994, the animated series spanned 112 episodes and over 50 hours of runtime during a 5+ year initial airing. Adapting even one full 26-episode season verbatim would require Netflix funding twice the length of Cowboy Bebop, a massive upfront expenditure. How might you summarize the unique adaptation challenge posed by Yu Yu Hakusho? Spanning over 100 anime episodes, adapting even a portion of this vast story into live action would require huge upfront investment from Netflix. This likely motivated condensing the first major arcs into only 5 episodes, despite knowing it would alienate fans. Yet the rich world building and character depth attracts hungry fans waiting a faithful live-action treatment. Thus unfathomable pressure behind adapting the Spirit Detective through early Dark Tournament content into around just 2.5 hours over 5 episodes. Showrunners had to know slashing over 75% of plot, character moments and emotional beats could not possibly satisfy devotees. You might conceptualize 2 extreme ends of adaptation philosophy. Completely verbatim translations scene by scene or wild reinterpretations keeping only loose thematic remnants. The former risks turning films into watching paint dry for unfamiliar audiences, while the latter horrifies devotees of vetting faithfully experiencing beloved moments. Yu Yu Hakusho's adaptation gambled on an abnormal middle path, ramming through plot points without care for emotional impact, but while otherwise changing surface details minimally. The approach effectively spoils major story surprises and fights without resonance, but avoids outright blasphemy, rewriting well-known characters entirely. While perhaps maximizing narrative efficiency, the thought was likely that fans would grit through a rushed first season just to see beloved characters and fights on screen, then hopefully be renewed for longer, more satisfying subsequent seasons. How would you characterize the adaptation approach taken in Season 1? It sped through plot without establishing emotional impact, but minimized surface-level changes to canon details. This may have aimed to draw in fans with familiar beats to renew for future seasons with corrected pacing issues. Whether one feels this contract delivered depends on their personal philosophy. Critics and general audiences saw the season as an utter mess of pacing issues and empty characters. But many fans seemed cautiously optimistic that the groundwork now enables more serialized upcoming seasons. Although even devotees felt robbed of experiencing impactful fights and losing moments getting to know beloved heroes. If renewed, adapting the remainder of the manga raises several dilemmas. Would be whether rushed adaptations can still satisfy fans just happy to see any faithful on-screen version, and if additional seasons will receive longer episodic orders and pacing to correct prior critiques. Also, balancing adapting untouched content with interfering leftover narrative changes between seasons. On the first, fans often passionately defend even objectively underwhelming adaptations of beloved franchises. The desire for any live-action versions allowing physically realizing characters and worlds drives goodwill unseen by critics rating amateurish productions solely on quality. Certain devotees seem willing to endure major cuts if fundamental personalities and plot beats hit familiar notes. Although whether twice burned fans would accept additional butchered seasons warrants consideration. What factors still motivate fans to watch adaptations even facing quality issues? Are there limits to this tolerance? The desire to see beloved characters and worlds released on-screen drives initial goodwill and defenders, but claims for faithfulness may turn to blame if successive seasons repeat pacing and canon issues. Twice-shy fans would reach limits to acceptance. The second issue around runtimes holds the key for redemption. Netflix renewing for only 5 to 6 more episodes would draw immense backlash. After outrage over pacing omissions already, adapting the remainder of this vast franchise into another 90 to 120 minutes cannot work narratively. Concerns over production costs would need addressing to justify funding 10+ episodes minimum going forward. With the world's main characters and conflicts introduced already, scene settings and costumes can perhaps be recycled, allowing reallocation toward writing quality itself. But budget constraints likely remain studio's central decision point for greenlighting new seasons. Finally, contending leftover narrative changes between self-contained seasons raises inevitable continuity questions should characters or events reappear contradicting manga canon. Reconciling or ignoring inconsistencies risks further alienating fans over canon fidelity now that foundations differ dramatically. Careful plotting and steering upcoming stories back onto canon rails avoids pitfalls that derailed prior condensed adaptations. Beloved anime with a years-long fan investment build intricate universes not condensed into highlight reels without sacrificing souls. Phew. That's a wrap on our speculative adventure into the abyss of Yu Yu Hakusho Season 2. Remember, folks, the search for answers never ends in the world of anime mysteries. If you enjoyed our wild ride through speculation town, smash that like button and let us know your theories in the comments below.